All right, so let's go ahead and start with tonight's session. Does anybody want to give a recap of last session's events? We can do it as a group too, if anybody would like to help give a recap.
I believe last session we went to Wolfsbane Woods and we had to we had to go into the woods and bottle up our insecurities that were in the forms of will-o-wisp, or the will-o-wisps were taking form of each member's insecurities, and we had to bottle them up. A lot of trauma in that one.
For some, for some, for
For
sure.
some. For some.
Yeah, and then, of course, we had one that, was an empty bag of flour, which was hilarious. That, that was captured by, one of the guardians, which was great, so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. You guys dealt with your insecurities last session, you came together as a community and realized that sometimes you need a group in order to tackle, an insecurity. Um
We learned it the hard way too.
Yeah, you learned it the hard way
Mhm.
multiple times, even though I said multiple times, you probably should not go at this alone. Um, yeah. So as you guys leave Wolfsbane Woods after staying there for a few weeks, hanging out with the denizens, getting to know everybody, getting to know the community that they have built together, you all begin to wander into Lupine Cascades. You feel like a bit of a calling. There's a song on the wind, this kind of like hauntingly beautiful, almost like a siren, but not of the deeps, of maybe the woods. And as you begin to follow this lovely song, this hum, you begin to enter into big trees towering above tangled roots. You see tons of cute little lanterns lit out and some wooden stairs kind of leading up into the beginning of what Lupine Cascade is. And it's just very pretty. You see little fireflies darting around the lanterns. They're hanging from the trees, creating just this kind of like very mystical ambience as you enter into this place. However, before you get too far into Lupine Cascades, you see before you the Guardian. Tala stands very tall, a spear in her hand. And Tala, why don't you introduce yourself and what we see?
So you see a bit of a glamour around Tala's body. It's more iridescent, mystical. You see a little bit of just magic around her. You can see her face. She is very stern, but very inviting. You're very intrigued by her. You want to hear what she's about to say. Um, and as Tala says, "Welcome to Lupine Cascade. I thank you for coming into my land. However, I really hope that you respect my land and my people, as I do not just let anyone come in with any cold hearted ways. There are multiple of my warriors up in this tree right now, up in these trees. Um, but before you actually can enter my land, I ask, what do you bring to me in order for me to actually gain my own trust to you?
And as you guys kind of look around, you actually don't see anybody in the trees. Whoever Tala mentioned, they're hiding impeccably well, blending in either with the natural surroundings, the hum of darkness that seems to eat up the canopy of the trees, but you don't see these people she's mentioning. And it could be that maybe you're just not clever enough to perceive them right now. But what offerings do you have for Tala to prove your goodwill and your good intentions in this place?
I have a seed. Can I give it to her? It's like, is she just standing kind of waiting, like we can just speak to her?
Yep.
Yes, you could go
Okay.
ahead and lay it down right in front of me.
So I would just walk over and place the seed at her feet and say, I am Queen Atandwe, and this is to nourish your lands. And I would like back up. Like I wouldn't give her my back, I just back up.
Thank you so much, Queen Atandwe. I appreciate your offering.
I would approach with a blade, pull it out of the sheath at my hip, and hold it out to let Tala inspect it. And she would notice, because she's the battle master, that it's made with the finest Mallow Plains metals, which are well known through the land to be some of the best, strongest metal. And I show it to her and I put it at her feet and I just nod my head down a little and say, Your guardianship," and back away as well.
Thank you so much. Hi, Maggie Zarina.
Rain steps.
Katie,
Oop, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Rain. Go ahead.
Rain steps forward and pulls a bottle of foxglove mead from her belt, and attached to it are several of her trinkets that represent the different courts. And she places it before Tala and nods respectfully, then backs away.
Thank you, Rain. I appreciate it.
Princess Kitty um looks a bit worried. She doesn't carry a lot on her. Um and most of the time when she is giving something to someone, it is like either the flowers she has been given from Serene's siblings that are still in her hair, but she feels like that wouldn't be good enough for a guardian. So she walks up to Zarina and she goes, I need you to I need a favor of you.
Yes, my princess.
Can you lend me your dagger?
Which dagger?
It's the smallest one.
Okay, great. Yeah, here you go.
And she takes it and from the furthest part of like her braids, she takes out one and it's pretty long. Um and she cuts off that braid
Oh, God.
and it does contain a few like flowers from Lavender Valley, but it's still a hair of hers. And she ties it into somewhat of a bracelet or a necklace and goes and lays it in front of Tala.
Princess Kiri, this is the best gift that I have so far yet received, just because I can feel it in your heart that you may not have had much on you, but giving a part of you is honestly the biggest honor, and I appreciate you so much.
Zarina claps.
And you see Katie give a bow to Tala before backing up.
Boy is gonna step forward and look over at Kiri with a gesture of, "Oh, great minds think alike," and offer forth fur from their coat. It's, birds and fur for their nest.
I appreciate that so much because that is a true creative there.
Battle Master, I am Chef Monk of Datura Mountains, and on behalf of my court, we have brought you a tray of new creations. Cream puffs created from explosions. We have brought them for you to enjoy and share with those that protect you.
Hello, Chef Monk. Thank you so much.
Battlemaster Tala, we don't have much to offer you, but the book of knowledge that we have gained in our travels and search of answers to figure out why our mushroom fae are turning into ghost bells. I know that maybe somehow it could help somebody you might know at some point, but at this point, that's all that we can offer you. And I hope that knowledge may be enough for you one day.
I appreciate you speaking up and letting me know. Thank you so much, and that means so much to my heart. I will definitely keep that in mind.
Battle Master, um, I present to you a sheath sewn together from scales that I have shed from my mermaid tail, so that any dagger that you may keep will be protected with my mystical scale.
Thank you so much, Princess. I appreciate that. It is something that I will keep with me at all times. I appreciate you.
Is there anybody else that would like to present an offering to Tala?
I wish to present something. Chef Monk presented some of his delicacies, but I wish to present an additional item. Uh, Battlemaster Talon, if you please, here is a small treatise of combat. I'm sure it is nowhere near your skill level, but I'm hoping that some of these lovely illustrations and illuminations would at least amuse you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your offering.
All of these gifts are laid at your feet, Tala. All of them having some kind of personal meaning, or they mean something. These trinkets, these gifts, these offerings to your court, you can feel in your soul that they mean something to these people. And now that all of the offerings have been presented to you, what would you like to do?
Because you have presented your great offerings, which I appreciate so much, I will now show you my true form, which some of you may not enjoy what you're about to see. But I hope that you also understand where I'm coming from, as you all know, with the news that I've heard of my true love, Saroon. Um, then you all start noticing that the the iridescent glimmer around her, that magic, starts to fade away, and you start seeing feathers falling to the ground. And your eyes follow all those feathers. So your eyes go off of Tala. You follow those feathers and notice that there's a lot more feathers than you would expect. You finally look up and see that Tala is actually in a human form, completely human, no feather in sight. But you also notice that her spear still holds a power within her. You also notice that underneath her eyes, she looks very tired. There's darkness underneath her eyes. Her hair looks a little disheveled because she it just seems like she hasn't been getting enough sleep. And Tala says, like I said, I understand that some of you may not like what you're seeing right now, but because you have given me these gifts, Tala then holds up her hand to stop her warriors. As now you can see these warriors are pointing their weapons at you, and she's stopping them from using those weapons. And she goes on and says, if you have anything against seeing my true form, I ask that you leave now or suffer the consequences. But because I see that you all gave me these gifts, you showed me that I can truly show you who I am. And if you didn't know this about me, I apologize in advance, but this is who I am. I was once a human, turned into a guardian because a fairy, Glory, the name, gave me the life knowing that I can protect my people. So I ask that you accept me for who I am because this spear will never lose its mark.
And you see that these warriors in the tree, they all have bows with sharp poisoned arrows pointed towards you. They have masks across their face, and their golden yellow eyes are looking for any hint of malice, any hint of that you are about to harm their guardian. And the air is very tense, even though Tala is kind of holding her arm up to wave them off. But they seem to be waiting with bated breath for your response.
A strong, independent woman who just wants to protect her people and other Fae. If anyone has a problem, they really should go because they've got no business here. Facts.
I have no problem with your choices. They are your choices. However, I have problems with those pointed things that are staring at me right now.
Don't worry, they will not harm you. I will make sure that they do not harm you, as I've seen that you have given me great gifts. But if you go and harm me, I can't speak after that. And like I've said before, you are now seeing my true form. You can leave now if you do not like it.
What if we don't want to leave?
Adriana, Adriana is just going to like look around and you'll see her kind of move further into the shadows. Like she just does not like being threatened, period, at all, you know. Um she doesn't have any intentions of harming anyone and she just feels like the same courtesy should be given. So you'll probably see some like thorny branches kind of snake around her arms as she's just watching everyone.
You see Kitty, she still has the dagger in her hand, and she goes ahead and cuts another braid off, and she hands the dagger back to Zanina before walking up to Tala, and she goes, "You've been through too much. I don't judge anyone." She hands the hair to her.
Thank you, Princess Kiri. I don't want to harm any of you. My warriors are there to protect me, just like how your people would protect you. So please don't think of this as a threat. I'm just scared that you all won't understand where I'm coming from. You knew what Saroon's past life was, hearing about it from the Lavender Valley. You know that it has hurt me, and I don't have the strength to hold my raven shape anymore, at least for right now. But they're protecting me because they're they're part of my land. And I hope, like I said, like I hope you all understand that this is not to harm any of you. They're just protecting me. And this is why I asked for your gifts. Because now you have given me these gifts, I truly hope, at least, that you can accept me for who I am. And with accepting me, you are more than welcome in my land anytime.
Rain kind of steps forward and she's normally more of the quiet guardian and she looks at Tala and she goes, I more than anybody know what it's like to have misconceptions about you. I understand and respect you, Tala. Your form is welcome.
Thank you, Rain, so much. Now,
Oh,
I hope that you all can accept me, and you are more than welcome to come in. My warriors will not harm you. I assure of it.
and with that, you see the bows ease a little bit as they put the arrows back into their holster and step back into the shadows of the treetops and the surroundings, and they vanish completely from sight. You have a feeling that they are still there, but they are now out of sight again. you still feel that they are watching you very intensely. And as you begin to kind of look around, you see a woman with long, dark hair and very loose, flowing clothes begin to approach the queen of Lupine Cascades. And she kind of whispers into Tala's ear for a moment, not even addressing any of you. And Tala, she tells you, it is time. They should come to the soiree now that we know their true intentions. And then she steps back and vanishes in a burst of feathers and darkness. Tala, will you guide them to the soiree?
Yes. Come on in.
So, as you guys begin to reclaim yourselves, you begin to walk up these steps through the lanterns and the light, and you come upon a beautiful giant tree covered in lights, and you see tons of witches essentially gathered there making different little knickknacks and things. They are laughing. You see that there are these giant willow trees off to the side creating these kind of private talking areas, and as Fae go into them, the willows kind of close around them, and you just hear kind of like muffled conversation and laughter. um, you see that around this great tree there is tons of these little sigils, all handmade, kind of dangling from the treetops themselves. And around the tree is this little kind of like waterway. It's about like ankle deep, and you see tons of shiny stones of all variety. You see amethyst, you see onyx, you see all these types of stones, and some of the Fae pick up a stone and bring it back over to kind of make a trinket for the tree, essentially. Off to the side, you see a variety of food and sweet treats. Um, it seems very relaxed. You see somebody in the corner reading tarot cards. You see another person reading from an oracle deck. You see a witch casting spells that is causing just an array of lights to kind of spread out. And as you guys approach, much different from them, they kind of look you over almost as if they can see something that you don't. Some of them raise an eyebrow, some of them kind of give a little bit of a smile of a mischievous nature. And that is what scene you guys come into. What would you like to do?
I'd like to observe that tree a little more closely if possible.
Yeah. So you go up to this giant old tree, and you see thousands upon thousands of witches' sigils made out of branches, out of rope, out of all of these trinkets and things like that. Each one is the mark of a witch. It is their sign, it is their circle that they draw when they are casting, and each one is unique to them. Some of them are basic, some of them are complex. Each one is varietied as the person that made them. And they all dangle, and when the wind kind of blows, it almost creates like this wind chime like sound. And you realize that the haunting, beautiful siren voice that you heard was actually the tree. It was all of these strange little devices coming together, and it was singing through the tree itself.
So she's going to just sit at the foot of this tree and listen for a while. She likes how varied the natures of the creatures are that created all this art and this song, and she's just gonna sit there um and listen for a bit. Like she's gonna pretend none of you are still there and just sit at the foot of this tree.
Yeah. As you sit at the foot of this tree, you are engrossed in the nature, in the sound. These witches are very much in tune with the nature of their court, maybe more so than people would assume. They seem to know about the life around them, how to treasure it, how to grow it, much like how your court does. And they kind of look over to you as they watch you kind of sit amongst the trees, a knowing smile on their lips as they leave you be. And as the wind kind of cascades through the trees, again, you hear that hum of a song, and now you realize how inhuman it sounds. It's the song of the tree, and it seemed to have lured all of you here.
Queen Kelly is suspicious. This all seems very, very suspicious to her, and she starts side-eyeing everything around, listening to this song.
You see a short, older lady kind of come up to you, Queen Shelley. She goes, "Oh, I would love to paint your portrait. You want to come get your portrait painted?"
Queen Kelly hisses at her.
"Oh, we
You
got a little cat over here." Little cute. And she comes up and she pinches your cheeks really hard. And she's like, "Here, kitty, kitty."
Queen Kelly whaps her away. Back with you, you old crone.
That's what I am. Any of you like to get your portrait painted, huh? Huh? I'm one of the best portraits in the land. And you don't know how true that statement is. It feels like she may be blowing smoke up her own ass, but she seems very confident.
Oh no, man, that's awful tempting.
Come on, Guardian. You should get your portrait painted.
Why not?
Um,
Rain will go with her too.
yeah, she kind of leads
I'll
you
bet.
both away, and she's like, so together? You want to get your portrait painted together?
Ooh.
It'd be like a
Thanks.
friendship painting, but you're going to have to share custody over it because I can only paint one.
I share custody of a sentient pie boy. I'm good. Right?
Yep, let's go. Let's go.
Uh, so she kind of like sits you both down and has you kind of like pose a little bit. And then she begins painting you both for a bit. What would the rest of you like to do? And we'll come back to the finishing of the painting in a moment.
Queen
Kitty.
Kelly is very worried for their souls being painted away right now.
Leinik would take this
So
opportunity to
fast.
approach Tala
To do
and
what with Tala?
to approach Tala and apologize for
Okay.
not offering a gift earlier. Um, my guardian, I apologize. I have no gift to offer, um, so I will offer my friendship.
I appreciate that. However, I already knew that we would be friends anyways, because when we were in the Lavender Valley, if you remember when we seen Saroon, you followed me to her body, and some of them were a little afraid because they weren't sure if the lavenders there would harm them. So knowing that you followed me, that already showed me your trust. So I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you feel you can trust me. While I have had my issues with humans, I I accept you as you are. Anyone who has earned Struan's love is most certainly worthy of my trust.
Thank you so much. Do you want to dive into those cream puffs because I've been eyeballing them?
Absolutely, please.
And they are absolutely delicious. Back to the two guardians getting their portrait painted. As the painting is finished, you're left with this like weird feeling inside of you that you need to like make something. You need to actually create something. You're hit with like this inspiration to make something and you need to make it now. And then you see the station of like the sigil making and you feel like if you do not make something right now, you will absolutely go insane. And the old crone kind of looks up at you too, and she flips the painting around and the pose that she gave you is not the pose that she drew or painted of you at all. It's of you two doing a wrestling match and you're like but your hands are up like you're about to like face each other. Um and obviously one is much taller than the other and you're just kind of like in mid pose like ready to wrestle each other. And she goes, "Well, what do you think? Do you like it?"
Rain kind of eyes it and is like, "Don't show this to a Zukarosk."
Queen Chelly stares and barely stifles her laughter in the corner.
I have a place we can put this.
Good, good. Then I'll give it to you. And she gives it to you and pats you on the head like a little kid. And says, "Now go create something now that you've been created for. That's how the magic inspires. Go make something now. You must."
The Rain heads over and just starts like picking up the sigil stuff and starts drawing, but is also taking like several of the trinkets from her hair and like placing them on the sigil.
You see one of the younger witches come by, and she goes, "Yes, yes, just do whatever calls to you. It has to be something personal to you." And yeah, just go with the flow. You're doing a good job.
She kind of looks over at Fuelan and is like, "Come on, don't you feel the call to create?" And is like shoving the sigil stuff towards her.
Boy is gonna go over and start just trying to like vibe with it. Not gonna lie, still very focused on wow, what a piece of art. Um, and just kind of like let their hands guide them.
Rain is like putting stuff into her hand, like, "Here, here."
I'm just gonna start collecting it. I'll just be like, yep, cool, keep passing.
I sent you a picture of what the wrestling pose looks like.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna commission this for
No, what if I started? Um, yeah, that's how it looks. You can do it more dramatic if you wish. But yeah,
It's cool. It's a
um,
wolf and a rabbit going at it. Let's go.
yeah, yeah, wolf and a fox going at it, man.
Yeah.
The rest of you, what would you like to do?
Carrie's gonna go over to the table of food, not really eyeing the sweets as much, but she's trying to look for any type of like fruit, like oranges, apples, grapes, pomegranates.
Yeah, you see a few open pomegranates on the table. You see people kind of like they've been split in half, so it's very easy to just kind of grab one and start pulling out the seeds. And they are extremely juicy. Like these pomegranates are probably the best pomegranates you've ever had. There's just like something special about them. And you see another witch kind of perusing through the food, and she kind of looks up at you, seeing you with these pomegranates, and she goes, "Oh, you're you're otherworld touched, aren't you? Interesting. A long time since one of your kind has been around Fairy, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised with the state of things."
Katie kind of her head lifts up. She goes, "Huh? I'm sorry."
Nah, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Enjoy the food. And she just kind of like picks up some food and starts eating it and then walks off.
Otherworld. Wait a minute, and she she begins to follow that witch.
Uh, She kind of like looks back at her like mouthful of food, and she kind of like raises an eyebrow. Did you not hear what I said? I said otherworldly touched.
What did I understood that, but what do you mean? How do you know that?
Because I can see it on you.
I
Oh, you're not a witch. Of course not. Of course not. Sorry. Everybody here is a witch, so it's like when we say these things, they are like, oh no, that makes sense. But I forget you're actually not from this court, even though you much look like you should be a part of this court. But otherworldly touched means you are one that has gone through and seen other worlds. You are being called by other worlds. In some regards, we have a theory that Queen Meb is very much the same. She didn't come from fairy; she came from somewhere else, but where we don't know. But you've been touched on the lips by something from another world, and it calls to you.
and she begins to think about when she had bottled up her insecurity back in Wolfsbane Will, and she goes, "That's what he meant." Oh gods! Oh my gods! Oh gods! And she thought she thought something entirely different, but it turns out she was wrong. And she looks at the witch and she bows her head. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I had something happen to me. Um, I just I'm still in awe."
How magic is, dear. It leaves us in awe of many things. There are things that we will never understand about the world or who we are, but what I do know and what is blatantly clear is you are being called to a place far away from here. And as the fool usually takes a journey, so will you at some point in your long life take a journey to where you truly belong. But I don't believe it's of fairy is where you truly belong. But that is just my stipulation. You could take it or leave it. I mean, as how oracles kind of go.
Right. I I apologize for ruining your meal. I must go. And she bows her head gently before walking back to Serena.
Meal? We snack here all the time. I don't know what she's talking about a meal. We don't have meals here. That's such a Mallow Plains thing to say, meals. Of course they have meals. Their guardian won't stop eating everything.
We do like meals.
Yeah. Here they snack. They snack all day. They snack a lot. You see a lot of snacky foods. You don't see like full-on meals here. Um, and you see people carrying lots of trinkets and shiny things. It seems to be almost an infection of this court that they all in some way behave like a little raven, always picking up things that are shiny. Um, what would the rest of you like to do?
The Marquess, as usual, is always in search for information, but is curious to know whether the witches know anything of the magic of mushrooms.
You see one witch who looks like she would understand mushrooms. You see mushrooms actually growing out of her body. She seems to be a part of the spores herself. You see mushrooms kind of growing on her face up, and her long, kind of brownish, mousy hair kind of falls to her waist. And you feel like that would be a good person to maybe talk to.
The Marquess takes a deep breath and hopes that the information will actually lead to fruitful answers
Yeah.
so that
How do
we can
you
figure out where our family is.
Yeah, how do you approach her? Do you just go walk
Oh,
up and talk to her? Like, how are you going to start this conversation with her?
oh, nervously and always feeling like you're going to get more disappointing answers. So she wants to come with this with hope, but this is very complicated. They've searched high and low for many years and have not come to many people that know this folklore is actually real, and that I was actually once she was once of that form and has been the only known mushroom to come back from that state. Sorry guys, I'm trying.
Yeah, she kind of
Aw.
listens to your story a little bit and uh tilts her head. So what is going on with the mushrooms? They are being turned into what exactly? She kind of tilts her head, seeing how nervous you are, and kind of gives you a comforting smile. I cannot tell what is going on unless you speak to me, Marquise. We have to communicate. And I know much about mushrooms, maybe more than most would appreciate. They've become a part of me. And she just kind of waits very patiently, almost like a slow mushroom would, just very, like, very, very, very patiently waiting for you to tell her exactly what you are searching for. We will return to that conversation in a moment, unless you're ready, Marquise. All right, I'll give you a moment. This is a very patient mushroom person. They understand everything's a little bit slower in life as a mushroom. All right, is there anything else anybody else would like to do? There are hideaway places, there are tarot card readers, oracle readers. This is a place of witches. If you have a question on a potion or an issue in the world, these are the people that you are going to want to speak to on such matters. They are the ones that can see past and into things that maybe um, normal people do not have an inclination to do.
Akari is still at the tree looking at all of the symbols, and she is searching them for something familiar. And she wonders if any of the witches would know about any of their sisters who left this area.
You see one of the older witches. She has a bit of some gray streaks in her hair. It's long and braided, and she kind of comes up to you, seeing you gazing at the tree tops and the sigils. She goes, "There have been many witches that have left. There are many witches that are no longer here. I heard your question whispering through the leaves themselves. So tell me, what exactly are you looking for? We lost many before Queen Meb put up the mist. Humans hunted witches for sport, burning them at the stake as they pleased. And even as we are not impervious to the elements themselves. We do not master them, we just guide them to our needs. So who do you look for, Princess of Hyacinth Falls?"
I I look for the woman who raised me. We were by the sea, and she unfortunately was taken from me by humans.
Hmm.
And these symbols seem familiar, but I don't see her and I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know if she was from here, what she wanted, because unfortunately she left in such a manner that we never got to say our final goodbyes.
Hmm. All right. She kind of looks up into the trees, and she kind of looks at you again and goes, "Reach out to her. Reach out with your hands. Remember all that she was and all that she is. speak life into her memory, and what was once hers will come to you. There are thousands here. But if you remember her and who she was, she will come to you. So reach out.
Akari reaches out and closes her eye and thinks of the melody that the woman who would have been called her mother would sing to the moon. And one of the discs starts to shine brightly, and she reaches towards it. And tears form at the corners of her eyes, but she refuses to let herself cry.
The older woman reaches out and plucks it from the tree. And as it's glowing, she hands it to you. One day will guide you to what you need to know. Take it with you on all of your journeys. And I hope that your reunion with them is not in death, but in life.
Akari receives the token and presses it closely to her heart, remembering that she is currently in human form, but wanting desperately to shift back into that of a mermaid. Thank you very much for this. I will not forget it. Thank you.
It was always meant to be yours. It just needed to be remembered. And when it was remembered, it too remembered the hands that had once crafted it so long ago. As she hands that to you, the mushroom lady looks at the marquise and goes, do you remember what is going on with the mushroom, my marquise?
They've been disappearing for many years now.
From
And
Hawthorne Hollow or from all of the places?
from all the mushroom places, honestly, there were so many of us for many, many years. And at first, we just thought it was a natural thing that happened to most different creatures that, as the world changes, sometimes we do
Mhm.
disappear. But as a kid, we were told folklore that when the mushroom fae would disappear, we would turn into ghost bell, which they look like flowers, beautiful white flowers, hauntingly beautiful, but they only bloomed once a week.
Hmm.
So the folklore was that you didn't want to become a ghost bell because no one would ever find you. It is just only by chance that the Marquise found the Marquess while she was blooming during her 1 week a year, the week that she fell
Mhm.
into that ghost bellflower. And there's been no one that's had useful information to help them understand what it was that the Marquise did to the Marquess to bring her back into Fey form from these hauntingly sad and beautiful flowers.
She smiles at you as you say that. The answer is much simpler than you think. It's love, my dear. He loved you, and you remembered your power, and then you came back to us. And not everyone is so blessed by Fairy to be loved in such a powerful way. It moves through us. And he loved you, and he found you because love finds all, it protects all. And he loved you in such a way that even if you did not return to him, he would mark where you lay, and he would come and see you bloom. as often as he could, even if that was only once a week. And the love of his power, Marquise, that is what saved you. That is what brought you back. And yes, the mushrooms are dying. I feel it in the roots of this world. The tangled rot of humans' poison is destroying everything we love. It is true. But it could not destroy your love or his love for you. For there is no love in this world that is so selfless that no matter what form you took, spirit and all, he would love you again and again. And that is why you have not found the answer, because the answer has always been so close to your heart, hard to believe. But he loved you and loves you still, and that is why you keep your form with us.
If you give me a moment, please.
Of course. And you see that the willow trees kind of like open up and then close around you to give you a moment of privacy by yourself. Um, you feel the vines kind of tickle your skin, and the roots of the world you feel through your feet. The world is dying. The mushrooms are dying. The roots are poisoned by human hands. But at that moment, all you can truly think about is how a love so powerful brought you back from oblivion itself. Azukarosk, as you enter into this soiree, you see witches, you see them eye you, and then you see one come up to you, a card in her hand. And she looks at you, you see her golden eyes kind of staring back at you. This card is for you. It has been yelling since the moment you arrived, and now you must take it, for it is yours. Do you take the card, Azukara?
I do.
As you flip the
As
card. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
As you flip the card over, it says the moon and has this giant
Ooh.
glowing moon, and wrapped around the moon is your celestial dragon form encompassing the moon itself on its edges.
The image shocks me. I am unable to process it because to see myself in such past splendor while I yet remain bound by human form is almost a detriment to my spirit. But the card itself is what bothers me. The moon means a loss, it means to give up love. And the real question I've been asking in my mind this entire time is my celestial brilliance worth losing everything I've built with this fox?
Mm. The deep question. And the witch kind of sees you mulling it over in your mind and gives you a nod before departing from you.
I don't even see her leave. I'm still transfixed on the card and I can't pull my eyes away from it.
Mm.
The way that mortals see the moon is so odd compared to how I used to see her.
Mm.
The way she would glide across the sky and how her movements reminded me so much of a thief I know.
Mm.
Things begin to click, and I recognize what has been driving me so far.
You watch as the witches come up to each and every one of you and hand you a tarot card. It's been calling to you, calling to you this entire time. But can you hear it? Will you heed its warning and its blessings? And on each of the tarot cards is a picture of yourself as that card. It is a drawing of immaculate accuracy of yourself. It's a gift from the Queen of Lupine Cascades. She is the best of us. She reads the cards unlike any other. And it is her gift and your calling if you will heed that answer. And they give you a bow and begin to walk away back into the festivities. You hear laughter, you see witches picking up stones to cast spells to bring about great and beautiful magic. What would you all like to do?
Kiri,
Akari, go ahead.
go ahead. You can go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, Akari is visibly shaken by her card, hopes that no one else has seen.
Unless you want them to see it, no. It has only been revealed to you.
With that thought, she is relieved and is curious what the read of this card is.
Queen Shelley looks down at her tarot card with the Prince Consort, Vulcan, Garage, says, Dear, you actually look pretty good in this. Came out pretty nice.
You look stunning as always, my
Oh.
Akari appreciates the levity and is broken from her moments of terror from looking at the card that she has received.
Now, most of you were handed your card in the upright position. However, King Lycanen, yours was the only one presented in the reverse position. And you can see that the witch that gives it to you, she just kind of gives like a nod of understanding. She goes, "This is how it was presented to us, and so we present it to you. Your soul is troubled, very troubled. Things have happened as of late, and you have yet to face the things that you truly need to face, my king. But maybe for tonight, while it serves as a reminder, you should let it go and find other things to fill your mind with, for lingering too long on what is sometimes distracts us from what could be. Do not give up hope. We all must take turns in our life, and this is just one for you right now. But do not be discouraged."
You better take that shit to heart.
Leineck is going to inhale sharply upon seeing his card, and quickly stow it away, and kind of just wander off to the edge of the party, and just sit and ponder.
You see as some witches kind of bring you like a tray of sweets and like kind of plop them down beside you. And one of them says, "We always find that pondering is always good with a little bit of a snack that is a little bit sweet." And they just kind of leave like a whole tiered tray to you. Like it's a huge tray. It's probably too much food for one person, but they just kind of plop it down in front of you, give you a nod, and then leave.
Challenge accepted.
Can you eat all the sweets? Probably, as you're pondering. Um, what would the rest of you like to do while you are here?
Zilparas is over in the corner,
Hmm.
still staring at his card. He makes eye contact with a few of the members and kind of gives them a nod, and then finally he sees. Is it Folan? How do you pronounce it? Is it Folan?
You could just say Fway.
Okay,
Boy.
cool. Um, so he sees her getting trinkets braided into her hair. He sees the look on Rain's face, and he glances up at the roof one more time, up at the sky, and looks at his card for the last time, makes a decision, and then burns it.
As you are burning this card, the witches all turn in unison and look at you.
I look
And
back. Sorry.
no, yeah, they turn and they look at you. I was waiting for you to respond.
No, I look back and I speak the words, I have chosen what fate is mine to bear. If it is a matter of cards, I will replace any you may have, but my fate is mine to control.
It is.
Rain kind of hears what he's saying and looks down at her card, which was the Hermit, and yeah, rips it in half and then jumps up and runs over to him and basically jumps into his arms.
The witches kind of like look away. Like after witnessing you burn the card and then this happened, they just kind of look away and mind their own business.
So cute.
Um, at this point, Azukaras kind of forgets all of the heavier decisions he had just finished making. He looks down, a smile plays across the draconic lips, and there is a moment of peace before everything goes back to chaos, for him at least.
As as that piece comes, you hear the sound of somebody clapping. It is time to dance. Come now, let us perform our ritual for the great tree. And you see some musical instruments come out, and all of the witches stand in the water. It goes up to their ankles. They are wearing these very light, airy dresses, and they begin to gather around. And then they begin to dance, humming and chanting their energy into the great tree. And you hear the song of the tree begin to intermingle with their own, creating this haunting cascade of music that just kind of transforms the energy around the whole atmosphere. And as that happens, you begin to see that each of the sigils in the tree begins to light up in its own unique color, in its own unique magic of the witch that made their sigil. And you begin to see animals begin to come out of the sigil, their familiars of all kinds, some of them aquatic, some of them uh normal kind of like cat shaped, some of them are toads, some of them are spiders, but you see all of their familiars beginning to come out of their sigils. And as they do, the witches extend their hands out to the trees and greet their familiar, reborn again at the beginning of spring. And they greet them as their energy kind of swells up, and you see laughter and happiness. And as their dancing concludes, you see that the witches step out of the water and it becomes a celebration. You see them opening up big kegs of beer and wine and mead and sweet teas. And the kegs begin to flow with alcohol, and the food is replenished as animals galore are just everywhere. You see little foxes and just all types of different familiars, but you realize looking at this display that a familiar is a extension of their soul. It's almost as if their soul is personified in a way, but mixed with something else. And as you kind of look around, you're started to be handed alcohol. Some of you are kind of asked to dance. So, and it becomes a much livelier celebration all around you as the tree sings, and so do the familiars and the witches. So, what would you all like to do?
Fury is gonna go ahead and accept Zarina's hands to a dance. But as she's dancing, she kind of remembers the steps that she took when she was dancing with the insecurity. And she, for a moment, to both of her court members, she seems like lost in her own dance of her own.
Yeah. And as you begin to dance with the High Maggie, there's these moments, Curie, that you feel like you are splitting between this world and another world. You see the tree and the ground and the moss and the air around you, and then it shifted to this palace of golden splendor and beauty, and everything keeps shifting between one world and the other. And it seems that you're the only one noticing this until a hand falls on your shoulder. The witch from before says, "Careful, princess. Too much, and she will shift."
Queen
And
Shelley is piqued with her interest in knowing what the witches might tell her about the coming days and the thinning of the mist.
Mhm.
She and her prince consort wander over to one of the witches laying out more tarot cards.
You see her kind of look up at you. She has a veil on her face that is full of stars. And when she moves, it looks like her hair is gleaming with stars. Skin is this kind of dark blue color, and she has tiny little silver dots that look like constellations on her skin. And she kind of looks up at you with her soft, light, pale blue eyes, and she goes, "I know why you're here. The cards told me so." And you see that she is starting to shuffle the deck.
Queen Shelley was challenged by the fates of the stars to be granted the power to rule in the Nightshade Alps. She feels as if fates have brought her to this precise witch for a reason. She grasps her hand out to Vulcan and waits patiently for what the witch has to say.
So she pulls 3 cards. She pulls the Star, the Lovers, and the Fool. And she lays it out before you. "These cards speak to me. They tell me that this blade that you are crafting in secret, you must put more into it than you originally thought. It doesn't just take metal to make this blade. This blade that you are crafting, Queen, it needs more. It needs life itself. It needs to come alive. You need the essence of a star to be folded into the metal itself. You need love kindled by love's true flame to give it life. And you need the innocence of a maiden in order to bring it to light. This blade that you are crafting will be unlike any other blade ever produced in fairy or within the mortal realms itself. But you should not be worried about the mists or the thinning. You have a fate far grander than even you could imagine. You must craft this blade. You must forge it. And you must do it soon, before it is too late, and it is not needed, for the rest of us will all be gone and dead.
Queen Chelly looks to her prince consort. What have you learned, my prince? Do we have any intelligence to where we might start to look? She looks to the witch as well. Is there anything you can see?
All that matters, my queen, is this blade. It must come into existence before the great feast. Otherwise, all will be lost to Faerie.
And these other things that I need to add into this blade, do we have any information of where I might seek them? Prince Consort, have you heard of anything?
Vulcan turns to his queen quietly. Fear not the ravings of this mad woman, my queen. You know that I will obtain any such resources necessary in order for us to forge our perfect weapon.
A bit of a rude consort you have, that he would negate the seeing and the true telling of a witch.
He is distrusting through all that we have been through, but he knows that we will obtain what we need to make this blade. Is there anything else that you can tell us of where we might obtain these things that we need, more than what we have already poured into forging this blade for the feast?
I will tell you that the last star that fell from the sky that should have been mended into your blade was instead sung back into the sky by the guardians of Saffron Sand. And with that, you will need to request a star to fall from the heavens in order to become a part of your blade. For the fallen star that came was stolen away by a denizen of Lichen Tundra, and then furthermore sung back into the sky by the guardian of Saffron Sands. So you now have a much harder task upon you. I just hope that you can convince the star to give up its life for something new, as stars tend to be a bit on the selfish side. They do not always heed the call of mortals. They are so far above it in their own realms where poison nor troubles can truly bother them. But do be wary. A fallen star means much to the guardian of Saffron Sands. You might thus anger her if you decide to proceed down this path, but mend with words you might, for if this blade is not crafted, Faerie itself might perish.
We would never fail. This has been my life's work, forging and learning to create the ultimate weapon. Since the beginning of the Thin of the Veil, I knew that I would have to endure this task. All of you here that are gathered, you do not need to worry. My forge has been running ever so long, and I have been working night and day, forging weapons and armor for several of you here. I will not fail you in forging this blade and bringing it to our feast.
I will say this. When the card refers to the lovers, it's going to refer to somebody you love close to your heart. And as far as innocence goes, the fool has already been drawn this night. By who? You will have to find them, for they are also key to crafting this blade. In what capacity? It will become known in time.
Queen Chelly looks to her prince consort. She knows that he will handle this without a doubt.
I will confer with our liaisons to the other courts and advise our intelligence networks to begin the search, my queen.
She gives you a bow. Good luck, Queen of the Stars. I do hope that the fate that I saw within these cards comes to pass, as it is a much better future than the one without. As you all begin to dance, some of you partaking in alcohol, others partaking more in food, you begin to wander and dance under the twinkling lights that hang from the trees, and it is beautiful. Tala, what have you been doing all this time, watching these newcomers to your court? What has been going through your mind?
Tala has been enjoying those cream puffs. um, but she's kind of been sitting afar watching everything because she's still thinking about how she's learned that her sweet love Saroon has been dying every 6 months. And so she can't wait to see her, but she's also very sad that she has been going through this pain. But also she's sad that Saroon never told her. So she's kind of not understanding her feelings at this moment. So she's kind of just sitting there watching everyone. While she's very grateful for all the gifts, she kind of feels a little guilty that these warriors of hers, which she appreciates so much, caused them to feel like she's been threatening her fellow guardians and royals and nobles. So she actually goes to the one who looked a little afraid in the beginning and feeling a little threatened. Um, Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Tandwe. She goes up to her and she knows that she's feeling a little friendly and having a good time, but she offers her a small little tree in a ceramic pot, and she hands her it saying, "I apologize for making you feel threatened, but here's my piece to you, showing you that you are more than welcome to come into my land anytime without feeling harmed. And I appreciate you accepting my true form."
So at this point, I thought the way is loose. And I say that so that none of you are surprised when I am in person drunk off that Fey wine. Okay, don't look at me like you were not given fair warning. Okay, because you were. I gave it. Um, so
I'll
she
be there. You're fine.
so she looks at this tree and she looks very excited. Her eyes are like glowing, and she leans uncomfortably close to your face and she says, "I accept your gift. You are family now." And the tree like disappears onto her arm. It's now a tattoo. The pot like shatters on the floor because of course she didn't think about the pot. She's drunk. And she starts dancing around you. Like she like now we're best friends. We're gonna dance. And not like in any like cute, way, like in a very drunk, turned uncomfortable kind of way, It's yeah, it's giving it's giving all has been forgotten,
Yeah.
and she's pretending she did not just turn a tree into a tattoo. Doesn't matter. She's just vibing like everything is fine.
And Tala joins her, but then also kind of excuses herself out politely because as she's feeling still down and she still wants to go to other people that she had invited into her place, she excuses herself and lets Atanwe just dance the night away. Um, Tala then goes over to Princess Kiri and hands her back her locks that she gave her because although she appreciates that so much, she knows that when coming into her land with nothing to give and understanding that part of Princess Kiri, she says to Princess Kiri, "Thank you. I appreciate your gifts, but this is more than I can accept. Is what I can really accept is your friendship. And I can't wait to one day get to know you more. But I would prefer you keep your locks with you because they look beautiful on you."
And
And
she, oh,
as
sorry,
you
go ahead.
As you say that, there's a twist of magic in Tala's words as the hair reattaches itself to you as if it was never cut.
She goes, I she had stopped dancing after a bit after the witch approached her. They're like, oh, be careful. um so she was on the sidelines, but she looks at Tala and she goes, I would gladly be your friend. I I know you're going to be okay, but you don't have to go through this alone. And as she's reattaching the locks, she kind of feels like a shiver down her spine, and she just goes, "Oh, that's new."
I appreciate you, Princess Curie, so much. And I'm grateful that I don't have to go through this alone, which is why I really wanted this soiree because I wanted to forget about the heartache that I've been through. It's a little hard, but with you seeing all of you happy and dancing now, I'm starting to feel a lot better and starting to be a little bit more excited that Saroon is going to be coming back soon. Um, so she gives Princess Curie a kiss on the cheek and she walks away, and she actually goes to King Lycan. And as King Lycan is pondering, she kind of grabs King Lycan and says, "Dance. Let's forget about all of this negativity. Like, let's just forget about everything and let's just have fun."
Lynic will get up and dance with Tala for a while, um, and then politely excuse himself and say, um, "Thank you for your hospitality. Uh, I'm sure you eagerly await Saroon's return. I myself, I have someone that I must speak with, but I thank you again for your hospitality." And Lynic will the soiree.
Thank you. And I appreciate you coming over. I hope that you have a good talk with that person, whoever that may be. And we'll see you soon. Um,
I look
Khaled,
forward to an ongoing friendship.
thank you very much. Um, Khaled then joins those who are dancing and tries to forget about all of the feelings that she's been feeling.
Mhm. And as you dance, you see your queen walk up to you, and she personally hands you your tarot card, Tala. Do you look at it?
I don't think not at the moment. I'm going to wait until after the soiree because as I'm feeling so much better, I just need to release whatever I have been feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put it away for now, deciding not to look at the tarot card for now. And as the witches begin to join in dancing, they begin to teach you all how to dance to their soiree and their music. It looks like Cheddar has
Yeah,
arrived. And with that,
that's Simba.
um, with the ambience of a wonderful cat purring, Cheddar begins to show up, and Cheddar is too fat to stand on his hind legs to dance. So he instead beckons for Queen Shelley to help him with his little paws so he can dance on two legs too. So he comes up to you, Queen Shelley, to ask you to basically like let him be able to help him dance.
The cold, indifferent queen to most just melts seeing her pudgy little baby waddle up to her and squeals before she looks over to the prince consort who gives her a nod before picking up Cheddar's cute little pudgy paws and takes them out onto the dance floor as she giggles with delight, a part of her that most do not see on a regular basis.
He kind of looks up at you and he goes, you know, if I wasn't a cat, I would be your prince consort. But I'm a cat and a familiar at that, so I can't be your prince consort, but I adore you more than him, and if he ever does anything to you, Queen Shelley, I'll poop in his shoes. Just for you.
Cheddar, you're such a good cat, but know that the prince has undergone so much, and soon you shall know too. But he would die for me and fall on his sword. There is nothing that you need to worry about but giving us all of your sweet little snuggles. And she puts her face right up into Cheddar and gives him a cute little nudgy nudge in him.
Yeah. He kind of like puts a paw on your cheek and goes, "No, I'm serious. I'll pee on his clothes if you ever need me to."
You see Battlemaster Tala grab her Duchess Evie and pulls her in because, as much as the snacks are really delicious, that is her friend of Lupine Cascade. And we start dancing.
Yeah. You see, as you begin to dance with the Duchess, the fireflies begin to dance with you. They begin to swirl around the both of you as you begin to dance together, and the witches kind of turn in awe at it, and they're like, "It's the Duchess. The Duchess of Lupine Cascades is dancing. Look, look at how nature weaves itself around you, around them. They're responding to the Duchess." And they kind of look as they dance with you, but their eyes are still trying to follow your dance as nature seems to wrap itself almost in like threads around the both of you. And it's a very beautiful sight, very magical, this kind of friendship that has been built between the Duchess and Tala. And as the dancing continues, it becomes almost like this hazy dream of intoxication of sweets, of alcohol, of enjoying company. There's a point to where some people are laughing so hard, it turns into almost like this high of laughter. And there's just this lightness in the air that you just can't get rid of. It's just, even if the tarot cards weren't what you wanted or were heavy, it doesn't seem to matter now. Everybody is just having a wonderful time. Is there anything anybody else would like to do while they are here?
I want to thank my guardian for pulling me in to dance, and because I really needed that dance after having some snacks, and I'm glad to now enjoy the party with everyone. So thank you for dragging me into all that. I really cannot dance, but it's really fun. So thank you.
Of course, my Duchess. It doesn't matter how you dance. I will gladly match your dance moves just to keep it flowing.
And Tala, you do, very much taking the leading positions so that all the Duchess really has to do is follow. Even, making up for some short movements or some clumsy movements, you kind of guide the dance. And to outsiders' eyes, it almost seems coordinated. You don't see any of the clumsiness you thought you were presenting, Duchess. It's just the way that the nature moves around you, the way it weaves its threads around you, is just a sight to behold.
Like to have a kitty go
Mhm.
um have go to have a tarot card reading if she could.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can go have a tarot card reading. You sit down at a witch's kind of seat. Okay, all right. I got my deck, and we'll just do a single card. So why don't you tell me when to stop, and then I will just draw the first card that I pull. So, Curie, just tell me when to stop, and I'll pull a card.
Stop.
Okay. All right. So she shuffles the deck, and you pull a card, and it's so perfect for Curie. It's the Five of Pentacles. And she kind of looks at you and goes, "You've had a lot of hardships lately. You feel isolated, left out, not a part of anything because you've missed out on things for so long. You have a lot of insecurity and fear about your future, and you feel that you're lacking the resources to really continue on your journey. And maybe you feel a little bit of rejection too from everybody, knowing that you are so far behind them. But you know, you can reach out and find the support that you need in order to not feel this fear and insecurity anymore. You have every possibility to grow, to adapt, to change. You have all the possibilities in the world. You just need to take them.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And she's gonna look at the card between the one that was pulled and the one she was given. Um, between the Fool card and the Five of Pentacles, it seems that she's walking the path, but at the same time, she is being faced with almost obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at the witch and she goes, if I do reach out for the support I need, can it not just be this one on this plane?
Of course it can be. But I believe your fate in the future, when you have faced all the trials that you're meant to in this world, one day you will ascend to where you truly belong, which is sadly not in this world, but you still have so much time here. Do not take it for granted. Because I will say this, once you have left this world, there is no coming back, and you leave everything behind with it.
And she kind of looks back at the party and looks at the group, her eyes going to Rain and then King Lycan, and then they kind of trace to Fallon and everyone else, and then finally they land on Zarina, and she just lets out a shaky sigh. She goes, thank you. And she gets up from her seat and begins to return to the party.
Mm-hmm. And as you do, you see the Empress of Dontura Mountains come and sit down in your place now. Now, my Empress, you tell me when to stop, and I will draw a card.
Stop.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, I get excited sometimes. Okay. So you watch as the card that is pulled is the 6 of Cups. And the witch kind of looks at you and she goes, "My Empress, you need to reconnect with your past, with your memories, and with people that maybe you have lost connection with over the years. You need to revisit the times that brought you good memories, that brought you connections. You need to revisit these friendships and families that built you into the empress that you are today. You need to strengthen yourself on them because there are dark times coming, and we can only really stand together when we are together. You need to reconnect with those that you have lost connection with. And you can kind of think back to your childhood, to even Saroon. You haven't connected with her in a long time. And you feel like maybe with spring coming and her awakening again, it's time to rekindle a very old friendship that goes back to a time when you were a fearful child looking for solstice.
Arizona has. Why am I always crying here?
It's okay. I tend to do that. It is very common with my players to always cry, so you're not the only one.
Empress Arizona looks at the card and also brings forth her card of the Queen of Wands. And it just poses the question of, how do these play together? What else should I consider?
The witch kind of looks at the card that you were given by the Queen of Lupine Cascades, and she goes, "Well, the Queen of Wands, she is passionate about what she does. And if there is one thing you are passionate about, it is books, and it is about the library. You are an individual that, when you know what you are speaking about, you are confident and enthusiastic, and as most would say, fiery. And this card that has been drawn to you is often associated with leadership and creativity. It encompasses you. These cards play into your journey and who you are currently. That doesn't mean they can't change over time. As we pull tarot cards, they often change and transform us. They warn us about what's to come and who we should be and maybe what we should work on. But the Queen of Wands, I think it's easy to tell that this is who you are at the core of your being, of yourself. You are somebody who loves what they love and is passionate about what you speak of when you know it.
Arizona, at this point, just says thank you, and then she bows and then leaves the tarot reader, and she walks back to the dancing and looks around for Tala.
You see her in the midst of dancing, having fun, letting loose. But she's there if you want to go talk to her.
Not at this time, but she will sit down and watch the dancing, and she fingers the pendant containing lavender that Zarun gave to her so long ago.
Yeah. That pendant has so many memories, and it's so much fear was around that time. But when you look at that pendant, you feel a sense of refined hope. This was a moment in your life that you gained so much hope, so many good memories of having your hair braided with flowers and playing in the streams with her siblings and seeing how many sparkly rocks you could find. You remember a childhood in Lavender Valley that was filled with so much happiness, with a huge family that seemed to never be able to get enough of you, and adored and loved you and treated you in a way that you wanted to be treated. And all you can remember truly about Lavender Valley is when you go back, you have so many brothers and sisters eager to hear about everything in all of your journeys that you have taken so far. Would anybody else like a reading or to do anything else while we are here in Lupine Cascades?
You do me.
What?
I did want to go and get a tarot reading.
You
Sorry,
want to
I
get?
had to
Yeah.
like reboot my laptop.
No, no, it's okay. You just tell me when to stop and I will pull a card. The tarot card reader sets you down and pulls out the Five of Swords. And she kind of looks at you and looks at the card and goes, I foresee, my dear guardian, a time of conflict and discord, betrayal and dishonor, and selfishness in your future. Perhaps not of you, but of your twin. There is going to be a betrayal that is going to happen, and you must prepare your heart for it.
Wait, is she saying, are you saying someone's going to betray Lorcan?
Perhaps.
Oh, absolutely not. This was a bad idea. They're gonna get up and they're gonna like start to try and walk away.
Yeah. She's going to make one final call out as you leave. This is a warning to consider the consequences of the actions that are coming. You cannot avoid it. You cannot stop it. It is coming, guardian of Wolfsbane's Woods, whether you are ready for it or not. And that is all she says.
Hala kind of pulls back a bit and looks over all the fun that's happening and kind of wonders. Everyone's getting these tarot card readings. I wonder what my card says now.
Yeah. Do you take a look at your card, Tala?
Yes.
It's Temperance. And as you look at this card, you realize that it is in reverse. You are imbalanced. You are at war with yourself. And you have not had control over your thoughts or feelings over several matters. And nor have you had self restraint, even against yourself. The darkness under your eyes, the way that you have let this drag you under into a depression. This card represents where you currently are and how overindulgence, even in your sadness, has caused you to stray away from what is truly important right now.
Well, I can deal with that later. I'm gonna put it back in my pocket and just, depression is depression. Let's go on and just dance it out.
Oh, all right, Chef Monk. You would like to get a card reading, wouldn't you?
Oh, I guess I should.
Are you okay? All right. So you know how this works. You tell me when to stop.
And stop.
Mm, okay. So the tarot card reader, she kind of looks relieved when you come up to her. Um, she seems to like your energy, and she pulls the Eight of Cups, and she goes, I think in regards to your latest recipe, because that's what you're really here for, the cards say it's time for a change, a transition into new areas of cooking that you may have not explored yet. It's time for a revelation, a change. I think you need to make something completely new. Something maybe that has been lingering on the cusps of your mind that you haven't even decided to venture into yet out of fear of failure. But I am telling you, now is the time. Now is the time to try that recipe, that dish that has been lingering in your mind.
Very interesting. Well, perhaps I should stop cooking and start cooling my food. I shall have to ponder on this.
And if you don't mind, I'd love a sample.
Very well, I shall have it delivered, even if I am not here at the time.
Wonderful. I always look forward to your creations. You've made quite a reputation for yourself all the way into this court, too. We've heard of the explosions happening on the mountains, and the smells sometimes make their way all the way here.
Oh, we just blame Vani for anything that gets out of hand.
She is quite chaotic. She should probably have a reading at some point. Maybe we can realign her.
Chef Monk, when are you going to speak to Vanya about keeping to the testing grounds? Not the rest of the force, please.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine controlling that woman. She does as she pleases, I just try to direct her as best I can.
Direct
That's
a little
all.
harder.
It's what we do with tarot cards too, direct people the best we can. And hopefully in time, our warnings and the guidance that they offer will be listened to. And with that, friends, the end of tonight's session. For the next 2 weeks, we will be in this mystical court. So I hope that some roleplay comes out of it as you continue to explore this court of witches and shadows. And
Yippee!
Finn.